Hey, for those of you who were at cycling yesterday, who was here at cycling yesterday? All right. Hey, we had a phenomenal thing happen yesterday at cycling. Lieutenant Robles from the Colombian Army, he gave me a great story. He shared something with me that he wanted to finish the race yesterday, because he was trying to dedicate that for his daughter, who's 7 years old. Now, Lieutenant Robles is paralyzed on his entire left side, and he has very minimal feeling on his right side. So I was kind of his wingman yesterday. I believe that this man did an extraordinary job yesterday just to make sure that he finished the race. He didn't want to give up for his little girl. So I truly believe that he deserves a medal. So in honor of that, I'm gonna present him with my gold medal because he deserved his gold medal from yesterday.
So here at the Office of Warrior Care Policy in our Military Adaptive Sports Program, we focus on the total recovery, especially within 6 domains of well-being, those being career, physical, emotional, social, family, and spiritual. We use all of those in a holistic approach to the recovery process.
Swimmers, take your mark. Go!
Military adaptive sports have been great for me physically. I had a period of time right as I was out of the hospital where I was waiting for my incision to heal on my leg. And that's when I started getting contacted by all types of different coaches. I started going to track practices in the evenings, just gave me something to look forward to and something to do while I was waiting for my leg, which was huge in my recovery. I was a prior firefighter at EMS and worked for the Department of Justice, so I kind of thought that that would be my suit to go into. Through the adaptive sports and reconditioning programs and getting involved and doing these one-on-one and knowing what a positive impact it had on me personally, I've actually just spoken to some of the guys at Walter Reed to do an internship with the adaptive sports program and readjust sites and look into fulfilling a career in that. So the guys that are coming back, or whoever even training accidents, that they'll have something to be involved in.
I'm actually applying to go to Riverside Sheriff and Oceanside Police Department, and I'm going to go and do my scheduled physical test, which is a 1.5 mile run. And so when I'm here at this camp, what I've been doing is talking to the coaches about everything in terms of Warrior Games and my competitions and stuff that I'm very excited for, I've always been excited for, but then these same coaches can actually help me with my career exam, and this is something that I'm trying to do with my life. And I know the coaches here didn't expect me to come and ask about it, and they were completely willing to help me, tell me how to get used to running these speeds or these times, and they've really helped me.
I've accomplished so much through adaptive sports. I've traveled the world, I've competed with elite athletes, and so I set all these huge goals for myself physically, and I accomplished them. And it's translated very easily into my professional life, where I can set goals for myself there and have the confidence to feel that I can surpass those goals. And so now, I feel strong because I lift weights and I focus on core strength and endurance and cardiovascular health. And because of that, I don't tire as easily as I could if I didn't have that in my life. Or at work, if I have to rush to a meeting on the Hill, I have to leave my office and it's a couple miles out of the road and I have to go catch the metro and I have to go up the stairs because I don't have time to wait for the elevator and I need to, haul butt across, the Capitol to get into my meeting. I'm not limited because of my physical disability. I have, the strength and the fortitude to be able to accomplish that, so it's not something that I have to stress about.
Realizing your full potential is a lifelong process. My goal is to be an aerospace engineer. I've been, diagnosed positive with a TBI, or traumatic brain injury. So sometimes I get sensitivity to light, my head hurts, I don't remember things as great as I used to, but because of military adaptive sports, I know that it's not impossible for me to accomplish that goal. So my overall well-being is that I'm finding my new normal, and I'm accomplishing everything that I've set out to do. And with that, military adaptive sports has given me confidence to go on with my future and my career and accomplish those goals.
Before my incident, I was shot, and before then, I was in the best shape of my life. I was preparing for a Spartan race and an 8-mile obstacle course, so I was in tip-top shape, strongest I've ever been. And then I got shot, and it was like someone pressed a reset button on my body, and I went down to square one again. It was such a discouraging thing because I went from being 190 pounds to 130 pounds without any strength. I didn't even have enough strength to stand or even sit up in my bed. Military adaptive sports has given me a goal and gave me a focus and gave me a goal saying, listen, you have 1 year to be able to get out of bed and get in the pool and swim. So every day I worked on that. They gave me a goal to strive for, and every day I worked on getting harder. And I was in the weight room and I was with my physical therapist every single day, and it definitely paid off. And now I'm probably as strong, if not stronger, as my whole body's concerned than I was before the incident, thanks to military adaptive sports.
My recovery, I'm about 4 years into my recovery. They always say you're always recovering. And I had kind of thought I'd plateaued and got to a level that I was comfortable. Starting the military adaptive sports program let me know that I had a whole another level to reach of fitness and mental well-being. They were able to put those programs in place for me and my fellow wounded warriors and provide us with that vision and help us to realize that where we're at right now is nowhere close to where we can be.
I'm fairly athletic, so instead of shooting, they asked me to swim, and I told them I didn't know how to swim. They taught me how to swim. And for me being a below-the-knee amputee, I've incorporated swimming into my physical training, and it takes a lot of the impact off of running and rucking every single day, which I'm used to, and so it gives me another option for that low impact cardio that can help keep me in shape without putting a lot of stress on my residual limb.
One thing as far as Graves' disease, it robs you of the thing it robbed me of was my endurance. Like I mentioned before, I could barely go up a flight of steps without being winded and frustrated, and my legs started shaking and I'm about to fall over. But cycling was pretty much, it was gentle on my body. I didn't have to pound it like running or doing push-ups and sit-ups. And as a result, I slowly built my endurance, my respiratory system, and my cardio improved exponentially thanks to military adaptive sports.
Stress is a natural part of every human being, and I think our adaptive sports really helps the individuals manage that stress. And I'll give you another case, and I use a lot of examples, but I think these are the best way to describe it. There's a soldier that I've known for the last 3 years who's been involved in adaptive sports. He's now a veteran, and he's been participating in the war games. This is his 3rd time participating in the war games, but I've been fortunate enough to watch the evolution, if you will, of his well-being and his participation in these sports. He's won a couple of medals, but now what you're actually seeing him is smile, right? He's winning and he's smiling. And you also see the family there. The family is, for the first time they've been to the games he's participating, and you see the family excited, smiling. After he gets finished with his competition, he's over hugging his families. 2 years prior to that, it was just, he would participate and he wouldn't speak to anybody. And so I spoke with him after his archery competition, and that was the first thing he was talking about. He was proud to introduce me to his family, talked about his transition, how it's affected not only him, but also the family members.
Archery's had, just because it's part of the adaptive sport program, it's played a big factor in our family. Just watching him be able to find something that brings joy to him again, and that he can feel normal and find a place in this life that he feels like he's accepted and not different from anything else with some of the struggles that he has. And as a family, this brought us together, whether it's practices or track meets or archery.
How many of us shoot archery?
It's something we all can do together.
I actually had one of my counselors at the rehab center. I was having a rough week. My incision wasn't closing. We hadn't really gotten anywhere as far as getting better, getting my prosthetic leg, getting back to flying. And he was asking me all these questions, and I wanted to tell him, George, I can't talk about this right now. I'm in a standstill. And so that was one of the weeks where definitely having sports to go to, something else to keep my mind engaged, teammates to talk to, that was huge for my emotional well-being.
I used to be a disgruntled individual that used to keep everything bottled up and explode at the wrong time. Through the adaptive sports, I've learned when it's a good time to voice my displeasure on something, and when just to let it roll off a duck's back, basically, and continue on. So it's definitely changed my life, and I know it's changed other Marines' lives also.
The military adaptive sports have helped me, let's say in stressful situations. I don't get stressed as fast as I did before because it's that focus factor. The coaches here, they're not concerned about winning. They're concerned about you participating and having fun. And that's what I really enjoy about it. That's, takes a lot of stress off of my shoulders. And every now and then I have to be reminded to have fun.
Sometimes it's easy to feel kind of like you're an outsider when you're around people who haven't necessarily had similar experiences to you, whether they be combat related or just recovering from an injury like this. And it is nice to be around those types of people. And I think everybody kind of feels that way. At some point they always find somebody who has a similar experience and a similar temperament that they can relate to. Everybody's at different stages through their recovery or has been in that stage, and being around those people it makes it easier for everyone. And I know it helps me even 10 years after. It still helps me to be around people like this, at least every now and then. It reminds me that it's okay, and I'm not the only guy.
I'm very withdrawn, I'm very quiet, but being surrounded by this particular group, they just brought me out of my shell, and I don't know how they did it, but I'm having a blast, and they are super supportive. I think it's because they really understand what I'm going through. They are able to relate, And most people outside this little group of people aren't. And because we can skip the formalities of what happened and what's wrong with your life, we can all be like, you know what, we all did this together. We all overcame. We're all here for a reason. And we're here to get better and help each other out.
I would say the Marine Corps Trials is one of the best events because it allows you to push yourself in limits that you've never been pushed before. It allows you to reconnect on a personal level, a socialized level. If you're very kept to yourself, this allows you to open up your doors a little bit and understand that you can talk about things. It allows you to participate in sports you probably never thought you were good at, never thought you would try, and you come here and you try it, and hey, it turns out you're good at it. You got friends now that are doing it with you. They call you when you leave, ask you how you're doing, and it makes you feel like you are important and you do matter to somebody.
I wasn't very sociable at first because I was brand new. I was kind of intimidated scoping it out because I was, I couldn't believe what all these people were doing. I mean, not in a bad way, but it's a big, huge family. It really is. You're not only teammates, but you're a family. So, sometimes you don't want to talk to your family, sometimes you do, but you want to talk to everybody here.
I think military adaptive sports has a big impact on how our service members interact socially. Because now they're not socially awkward, if you will. They're going out, they're being inclusive in the community, where they're actually inserting themselves in many cases now because they have the confidence to do so. A lot of the athletes I've come to know playing seated volleyball or wheelchair basketball, when you're watching these individuals play these games, you're not seeing somebody that has a disability. All you're seeing is somebody that's playing a sport. When you see somebody playing wheelchair basketball, you're not paying attention to the fact that they're in wheelchairs. You're paying attention to the fact that they're playing basketball. And you're cheering for them because they're basketball players, not because they're in a wheelchair. And I think that's what they really want.
I look at these guys now and go, you don't know what they can do, because I get to follow them after we leave here. And I keep up with a lot of them and see what they're doing. They're doing some amazing things. They're climbing mountains and they're hiking the Appalachian Trail all the way through. Then they're getting married and having babies and getting jobs and succeeding in whatever they want to do. And so for me, that's what I like, to see somebody start and then just thrive.
So one of those things, I have two small boys who are, one's almost 5 and one is 6. And with all the training that I'm doing, not only working household chores, but the training, I've taken my boys and incorporated them into my training. So it's been a lot of fun. So when I'm doing my swim training, I take the boys with me. Like I mentioned, my swim coach is out of Atlanta, so I take the boys with me. And so I get a swim lesson and they get a swim lesson. I was able to sign out a set of track blocks to work on my starts. And so every Sunday morning, that's what we did. Me and my boys would set up the track blocks and we would practice our starts in the driveway. And it's been a lot of fun incorporating the boys into the training, and hopefully, throughout their life, sports will mean as much to them as it does for me.
Whoa, where did you get that? Whoa!
A mobile right under the bleachers.
Right under the bleachers? No way, Jose.
I have my wife as my caregiver, and she comes with me to the camps, helps me out. I'm able to have time with my daughter and my wife away from home, and feel good about us as a family and being able to do something kind of together.
Family members will say that they see a complete difference change in the individual's attitude and the way he or she interacts with the family. And we want that. We want that as they go through the transition process.
The Military Adaptive Sports Program has helped me see that family is one of the most important things for recovery. They constantly encourage family involvement, whether it's at the trials, the camps, the Warrior Games. They constantly re-encourage people to treat the team as a family. So that's huge. It kind of teaches people to not isolate, always use that support network as if it is your own family.
Seeing Sarah go through the chemo treatment and something she chose to do, something that was more difficult than I could possibly imagine. You know, when she set her mind to do Kilimanjaro, I think there were a lot of people that had doubts. You know, we said, well, we're going to go climb Mount Kilimanjaro, and they were like, you know, they were polite about it, but I could tell they were like, there's no way you're going to make it. But I never questioned it. I'd seen her do it on that bed. But military adaptive sports was the mechanism through which she, you know, and I together worked out to get in shape for Kilimanjaro and get that strength. And look her now. I mean, she's strong and she's beautiful and she's got her full head of hair and she's doing great.
Military adaptive sports, it just influenced my purpose and meaning on a whole different level. And what I mean by that is just that I stopped thinking about me and I started thinking about who am I impacting. So instead of thinking, okay, I need to be the best at this sport so that I can win blah, 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 I'd look at it more as I need to do good at this sport to show that other Marine, that other ally next to me that there is a way to get through what we're doing.
So what? It's cancer, you know? It does something to you, but get up, keep moving, do what you love. And if you're a service member, get involved in the military adaptive sports program because it will take your mind away from everything. And you're gonna do the sports that you love, and you might not know it while you're swimming or playing seated volleyball, but you're healing yourself and you're helping someone else heal. And that to me is such a strong path to lead.
We know a lot of times the individuals, once they're injured, they go through an identity crisis, right? But I think military adaptive sports in many cases helps strengthen that identity. And the sense is that now we have a renewed sense of purpose in a lot of the wounded warriors.
Just need the one to have some fun. Oh, ho, 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 pilot's life for me.
Amputee song! Yeah, it's real now.
Real. Hey,
we need to make more. I really am glad that I got hurt because it made me a better person. And it's very easy for me to say that as a single leg amputee below the knee because that's kind of the paper cut of the amputations. And if you're really injured, it might not be as easy for you to say that. But for somebody like me that I was, I got very lucky in my injury. I do know it made me a better person. And I do know that it has helped me to help people more than I ever would have in my life. I've always thought I was a good person. Once I lost my leg, it humbled me. It made me want to help people more, and it really made me less self-centered than I'd ever been in my life. And now I actually do feel like my purpose is to help other people. It made me volunteer and go to hospitals with other combat wounded veterans that were in the hospital, and just to let them know, hey, look at me, it's gonna get better because other people have done that for me.
Faith has been the biggest part of my recovery. From the beginning, from the night of the accident, there were so many miracles that happened. I know that God still had a plan for me, and so that has been amazing to see. And then I would put military adaptive sports in that boat as well, that I think God sometimes knows what you need, and He knew that I needed to meet these teammates, these coaches. I needed to come out here on this trip at this time just to keep my recovery going.
Definitely since I've taken up adaptive sports, I do have a higher purpose. My life has never been all about me. It's about the people in it, but even more so now. I'm a part of a team here. And the Army team we all stick together. We all just bleed, sweat, cry together. And that means more to me than any achievement that I can make, But absolutely, every day we get to compete is just another gift from God. And I know, it may not be about religion in the spiritual sense, but for me, that's what it is. It's a gift. Anytime I get to go out there and compete, anytime I get to train, it's just another gift because I'm alive.
So we all joined the military for different reasons. So my sense of purpose was to learn how to honor my family, my parents, and my country, you know, when I joined the Marine Corps. So in doing that, I feel like I've been taken out of the fight with my injuries. Military adaptive sports have put me back in the fight. So my purpose now is to recover and do the best I can so that I can still be around for the people I care about and I love.
The military adaptive sports program, it definitely saved my life because, you know, like I said, I was in a dark place, but being able to swim as part of the military adaptive program, it definitely brought me out of that dark place.
Military adaptive sports provide a venue to reimagine your future. I mean, they really do. If you think I can't do things or I'm not going to be able to do things, and then you're pushed, you push yourself, your coaches push you, your peers, the international athletes push you, and you realize that, hey, there's a future for me. There's something else in my future that I can be good at or I can do meaningfully. That can be a life changer. That certainly can be a life changer.
Military adaptive sports definitely does change lives. It definitely, I believe, saves lives. Because like myself, I was done. I didn't think that I could go on anymore the way that I could before. I didn't have any purpose in life. Just when you think that you want to give up, you see somebody else and they're not giving up. Or you see somebody else and they're telling you, you can't give up. You know, we're a team. We can't be anything without you. Or I can't be anything without somebody else. You know, we're in this together.
There's so much that I appreciate more now. And when the military adaptive sports brings me to these different destinations with this group of guys and girls that have the same mind frame that I do, man, we're out there on the track running. It's like, wow, I might not have been able to do this again, and I can now because military adaptive sports has given that to us.
Military adaptive sports changes lives, and in many cases it saves lives. And I'll tell you that there's many examples of that occurring today by some of the participants that have been part of our clinics and our camps over the last year or a couple of years, and they are participating as somebody who has been resilient, somebody who's utilized the recovery process effectively.